I am delighted to welcome you all to this SATA webinar, and particularly officially, she's Dr. Susan George. I know her as a colleague and a friend. Susan, it's lovely to have you with us. Our paths have intertwined over many years. Um, Really curious about this emerging framework that you're sharing with us around karma, ego states, and life script. I'm sure you've read about Susan's biography, but fascinating. I'm always fascinated that you were a chemistry professor and then chose to immerse yourself in psychology and not just TA, so many different things you are studying. And as we were chatting before the time, even now something new that you're doing that gives you the richness of who you are and your thinking. So over to you. Thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. So we are a nice small group, and therefore we can go at our pace and the way you want. So right at the start, I'll say, be participative, ask questions, share your ideas, because I guess you people will also know about karma and uh, all those things. So your inputs are welcome. I want to start by saying that. I'll start sharing screen. Okay. This is the topic I have put out. So it's not only karma, I will be also connecting it with the panchakoshas, the shariras, and life script and ego states, and building a model on ego states. That's the idea. These were the questions that I think you would have received in the brochure. People are born in different contexts with different abilities, physical, mental, emotional, and financial. Why all these differences? Who causes these differences? Is it destiny? And are we helpless in the face of destiny? In TA, we have learned about script, but one thing that has always remained unanswered for me is, why do different children make different decisions? It is that quest that took me on this journey of looking at the other scriptures, other modalities to find the answer to why do different children make different decisions. And the other thing that took me there was this debate over nurture and nature, and how different people say, give emphasis to the difference. Do you all have any other such thoughts? Oh, it's not moving. Share again and hope it will move. Yeah. What are the thoughts and questions that you all have that has brought you here?
So for me, it is curiosity really about I've not been exposed to much around karma and all, but it was just curiosity to be able to learn and hear what are your thoughts linked to the scripting as well.
Yeah. You said you will be here for the first hour. So the first hour we will talk about karma.
Okay.
And yeah.
So I was having a discussion with my husband 3 days back, and he was telling me that he would tell his father that destiny is nothing, and his father would say, destiny will lead you by the nose. And I was protesting that point of view as well. I was saying, yes, there is destiny, but in in what presents us is presented to us by life or situation, we make choices in that, and that does shape the future path. And we have a live example where we lost family members and we became in charge of 3 more children and property and all that. And it was like a big shift in our lives. And we weren't expecting that. But the choices we made has kept the family intact. So it was hard work, but it could have gone another way as well. So I feel, yes, events happen, but it's still choices that we make help us to make a better, we can make a better life even in that situation.
Yeah, that's my thinking too, but I extend it to we make the choice even before we arrive into this world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just
Hello.
wanted to say hi, Dr. Susan. Good to see you again. So I have attended Dr. Susan's talk in person on similar subject. I'm not sure if she's going to cover the same thing, but it was so fascinating and so deep, and left me with the need to seek more information and to understand this better. And I have deep respect for Dr. Susan George and the kind of work she's been doing. She inspires me all the time. So I thought nothing better than being here today and hearing more about it. And the reason I want to listen to it all over again or understand this better is because many times we feel we are stuck with the choices our parents have made, and we spend our lives doing a lot of things given to us because of the family we are in, or the choices made by the people who've been in our lives before, or currently as well. So untangling many knots and kind of trying to find oneself despite what's been given to you to deal with is something which I want to understand better and deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The structure is going to be similar, but I have added some things to the previous conference material.
I'm curious also about our personal destiny and our collective destiny, and particularly thinking of what's going on in the world. Is this almost we moving into a different level of consciousness collectively, and how is that intertwined with individuals and karma? That fascinating.
That is what I am my thinking too, that it's a collective decision in the before our birth.
And welcome to Sahai. He's joining us from Ethiopia. Welcome, Sahai.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, Sai.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, anything you want to say, or shall I?
Yeah, I think I don't really have much else to add, but resonate with what's been shared so far. I suppose I've got to share with what Jimmy had said about not having too much exposure to an understanding around karma. So really interested to hear more about that, and especially with the link with the TA language or framework, which is such a comfort for me. And I think to pick up on what Karen said as well, that personal versus collective, it's it's a really big question at the moment, and
Yes.
the ups and downs of the world.
So my plan or structure for the program is first to introduce these concepts, which some of you are familiar with and some of you aren't. And then bringing anthroposophic concept of fourfold man, connected with the different types of bodies in the Indian scriptures also, and their take on the life between one birth and the next birth. Okay, so that area is where I'm going to have the focus on. And to support that, I'm also looking at Michael Newton's writing on past life regression and hypnotherapy. And then giving an ego state model. Okay. Okay. So I want to start by saying I'm a beginner in this search. I'm not an authority on the Indian scriptures, nor on anthroposophy, or any of these concepts that I am. But I'm a curious learner, and I'm hoping to learn from this presentation also, because putting out our ideas is the best way of learning. And your interaction will be valuable in that. And also the model which I'm putting in this whole presentation is a work in progress. So your ideas would help me consolidate it. Okay, before we start, because we are going to focus on life after death, just draw a metaphor or just an image that is coming up for you for life after death. You can use pastel colors, or if you don't have it, just pen and paper. Just to get you initiated into thinking about life after death. Just give me a thumbs up or something like that for me to know when you are done. Yeah. I can't see all of you on the screen. So if at any point you want to share a thought or ask a question, just unmute and speak. Okay. So, some of you would have heard this word in different contexts. And these are some of the sentences we get when you ask people, what is karma? The common phraseologies we get within India and outside too. Karma is action. Karma is cause and effect. It is the inescapable basis of our life. It's the blueprint created for our lives. That's how this thought that karma is destiny and we are tied to it comes up. So let's look at a little more in detail, looking at it from the Vedanta perspective as well as the Yoga Sutra perspective. Action. Karma is action. And action is the words you speak and the action you make. But karma is not just the action. What is important is what is the intention of your action. Okay? And this intention, we can experience it as a thought. And what the scriptures say is that this thought is influenced by the vasana that we have. Vasana means the tendency with which you are born. The flavor of your life, the smell of your life. The word vasana actually means smell. So the flavor, the color of your life with which you are born. And this creates the thoughts that come up. And those thoughts are making us act. And every action of ours has a consequence. Okay? Whatever I do, and the consequence is not only about the action, the consequence is because of the intention. Okay? Two people may do exactly the same thing, but if their intentions are different, the consequences for themselves and others is different. And that consequence The term used for that is phala. And this consequence can be positive or negative. And the words used for that is papa and punya, literally translating into sin and merit. Papa means sin. So each of our actions have a consequence, and this consequence leaves an impression on our body. Just like we talk about scripting being part of the body. So right from the time of conception or birth, there are impressions left on our body. And those impressions are called samskaras. And these samskaras reinforce the vasana. And our actions can be things which reinforce it or dilute it and negate it. So that's where our power comes. No, we do not have to be always driven only by the vasana that we are born with. Okay, so this is a continuous cycle. We are born with a tendency called the vasana that influences my vritti or my thought, the thought pattern, not the exact thought, but the way I think. And that leads to action. That action leads to consequences, which leaves an impression on us. And that impression deepens the vasana and the cycle goes on. Okay, which is what we say in TA also, the repetitive pattern. The games we play, all of those are this cycle in play. And the thought is getting fixed, our beliefs become stronger and stronger, and therefore our action become more repetitive, and it continues. But the take is that it doesn't stop with this life. It is carried into our next life and the next life, or a whole series of lives. And that's called samsara. So it's an unending cycle going through many lives. And all scriptures and our actions are trying to find an escape from this unending cycle. And in the Hindu scriptures, we call it moksha. And moksha is coming out of this cycle and becoming one with the Almighty. And Buddhism also talks about nirvana, which is breaking out of this cycle. To think a little more along these lines, Sadhguru, the person in Coimbatore, gives this idea about karma. He says, all of us want to be, want to do, and want to have. Okay? And action is the to-do part. And action can stem from fulfillment. I am full, and from this fullness of my being, I act. Okay? But sometimes I am acting in order to find fulfillment. Okay? So I'm full, in abundance, whatever it is, whether it is money or whether it is your resources, your talents, your knowledge. And I am coming from this place of, I'm full and I want to share this. That's one way. The other is, I want to get this. I want to get more knowledge. I want to get more money. I want to get, and there is this need to find. Okay. So when I am acting from fulfillment, the intention is to express the fulfillment. to celebrate the completeness. Whereas when I'm acting to find fulfillment, the action intention is this, to pursue to the fulfillment, to pursue completeness. Some people even get married saying woman alone is not complete. Only if it becomes with the man, it becomes complete. So we are always searching for that completeness. And also searching for identity. Can you see that I can do the same behavior from each of these intentions? And then the consequence will be different. In both, it can be positive or negative. But are you getting an idea of how intentions can be different? I'll tell you a story. There were two monks who were walking towards their monastery back home, quite a distance they had to walk. And while they were walking, it was their time of silence. So they couldn't talk to each other. They were just walking along. And they came to a river where the river was in spate. And they were about to cross the river. They noticed there was a young girl standing on the river, trying to cross the river, but struggling. One of the monks walks up to her, picks her on his back, and walks across the river, leaves her on the other shore, and continues walking. The other monk who saw this happening is very agitated. He is so sure the monk has committed a sin, and he thinks he should tell him and correct him, but he cannot speak. So he carries this thought with him and they go till they get to the monastery, and still that silence time continues. So this man is still fretting about the wrong his other monk has done. And as soon as the silence hour is stopped, he goes rushing to him and tells him, "Do you know what a big sin you have done? You have promised celibacy and you carried this woman." So the monk turns around and says, "I carried the woman across the across the river because she needed help. But I left her there at that bank. You have carried her all this way." Okay. So doing and not doing are both action. The other man didn't carry her in reality, but he carried her. Right? So who carries the papa, who carries punya? Clearly the man who was obsessed with the girl and her appearance and how the other man has sinned, etc. Probability is that was negative karma, the papa. The other man, we can look at it in different ways. It could be positive, it could be negative, it could be neutral, all of those. Are you seeing how the same action can be different consequences and initiated by different intentions? Is that part clear? Thoughts on the possibilities of the papa and punya of the person who carried the girl across? The monk who carried the person across, what do you think? Could have been his thoughts or intention? Could have been different intentions.
She might not have wanted to go across, and he just made an assumption that she needed to be taken across. We don't really know.
Yeah. One possibility is just purely someone needs my help, I'm giving the help. Okay. But in that also you can have different intentions. If I do good, I will be rewarded. Okay. Then there is a karma to it.
Mm.
It is, I can do
Recording in
this.
progress.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Can you see that he could have had? Yes, Smriti.
and I was thinking that the belief system was coming in the way for the second person, that this is wrong. And that's why he was carrying it, because, and he didn't see understand if there was purity of intention. Uh, we don't know right now, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why one action can have. So his vasana could be about right, wrong. His vasana could be about women and connection with women. His vasana could also be, I must correct other people, whatever the reason, right? So we can, each of us could be carrying various vasanas, which we may or may not be aware of. And it's good for us to keep asking ourselves, what is the intention of my action? Okay. Now, this karma part, we are going, there is a lot to it, but I'm just going to stay with these three parts. One is Sanchita karma, which is the karma that is accumulated over several births. And which we carry from one birth to another, but we may not be acting on it. But it is there. It's a huge container of all the karma from various lives. The other is the Parabdha karma, which is the karma that is influencing our present birth. We will do this in detail when we go to life after death. How do we decide what is the karma that we are going to work with or work through in this life? Okay? That's the beauty of this life. We are not governed by the Parabdha karma, but we are given a chance to resolve it and get closer to perfection. Get closer to the complete oneness with the higher power. And Agami karma is the karma that we generate in every birth. We are not just living by our karma, we are also, our action is also generating new karma, which goes and gets added on to the Sanjita karma. And that's how the cycle continues. So can we have, there are just few of us, so maybe, how many of us? How do we want to do this?
So if Andrew and I join in, there would be 3 in one room and 3
And
in
2 in
another.
another.
Don't
Yeah.
join the room, Susan.
Yes. 3 and 2, yeah.
What would you tell me? I've got them set up, so
Yeah, you can go ahead. So that you talk about whatever is coming up for you. Take about 5 minutes and come back.
5 minutes. Okay. Susan, let's put you in a room, but just don't accept it. And Andrew, you to join. Here we go.
Andrew, recording. Yeah, Andrew was cut off mid-sentence. Andrew, would you like to complete your sentence that you were saying?
Thanks, Marty. Yeah, I think the bit that I'm most tickled with at the moment is the part around the understanding intention. And what strikes me there is that the potential of investigating my intention and understanding that there's a good chance that there's unconscious intention behind that is going to be the real active intention.
Yes.
And yeah, that's what I'm sitting with.
Thank you.
Anything you want to bring from the small groups into the larger space? both the groups, what came up there significantly?
The parts that's fascinating me is is my intention coming from, is my action and the intention coming from the place of to be, from fulfillment, or to find fulfillment. And the sense kind of can help me understand, often it's a bit of a flow as well. It's not purely from one or the other. So almost if it's coming from fulfillment, but yet it almost inadvertently gives more fulfillment in a sense. But if it's only coming to find fulfillment, maybe then it's something different.
Exactly. See, even from fulfillment, if my intention is I have so much and I want to show the world that I have so much, it becomes Papa.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
right?
Very nuanced, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even from lack of fulfillments, my intention of what I'm yearning for, what I'm looking for, could give you punya.
Mm.
For example, the search for how do I become a better person could leave punya. But the idea is not to have good karma or bad karma, which I'm carrying, but to come to the zero space where there is no karma being accumulated. I am acting from the here and now, in response to the here and now only. Not an easy space to be in, but that's what we are moving towards or growing towards naturally.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say from the other group? Shall we? Okay, shall we move on to the next bit, which is about koshas and shariras. Okay. The Vedas, the Yajurveda, talks about us having 5 bodies. The obvious body, the physical body, is called the Annamaya Kosha. And this physical body is alive because there is a life force energy running in it. And that is called the Pranamaya Kosha, the prana, the breath. Okay. And Annamaya Kosha, or physical things, is present even in the mineral world. In the mineral world, as well as the plant world, there is the Annamaya Kosha and the Pranamaya Kosha. Plants are alive. But in the case of animals, we get the next one, which is the Manomaya Kosha. All sentient beings means I can sense, I can take in things through my senses, and I can process that and react to the stimulus that is coming to me, like animals. Okay. But in the case of human beings, which are called sapient beings, in addition to this capacity of taking in things through the stimuli and processing it, we also have a certain sense of discernment, and we are able to connect that material with ourselves. Who am I? What am I? So this existential questions come in, and I'm able to process them. That is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Both mental capacities, but different. And the last, which is there in us, but which most of us are not even aware of, is the Anandamaya Kosha, the space where this peace or shantam exists. It's a core state in which love, peace, and joy exist. Whatever is happening around, if I have the capacity to access that state, then I can deal with the world very differently from when I'm acting from the other bodies. Have you got clarity on these 5 bodies that are there in us? The first one, the Annamaya Kosha, present in all things in this world.
Rest.
Yeah. Pranamaya Kosha, which is an echo. Pranamaya Kosha, which is the energy force which is there in plants, animals, and man. The Manomaya Kosha, which is there in animals and man. The Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is there in man. And the higher spiritual force, which is called the Anandamaya Kosha. This same thing in Ayurveda, which is where you have the medicine system, talks about 3 bodies. So what we are calling Annamaya Kosha here is called the Karana Sharira, or the causal body. So we are created by this body. At conception, it is the Karana Sharira, or the Anandamaya Kosha, that is deciding to grow us into what we are now. And how does it do it? It does it by creating this gross body, which is the Annamaya Kosha, by taking in material from the outer world, starting from the semen and the ovum coming together, and then the food the mother is taking, and the body is built from the mineral world. And then there is this subtle body which we are not aware of, and which is what we need to become more and more aware of and make access to. Even our breathing, some of us don't even notice we are breathing. That's why when meditation or in yoga, we are first taught breathing. So are we aware of how our prana is flowing? Is there a natural flow? Are there blocks in parts of it? So good place to begin. And then, how am I processing stimuli that is coming to me? The Manomaya Kosha. Very often we are processing without our awareness. Like Burns says about the story of the little child who loved watching the bird and was enjoying it. And the mother comes and says, "Oh, that's a jay." Yeah? The moment that is done, we are not aware of the Manomaya Kosha. It's just a jay. I see it and it becomes a word. It doesn't allow me to enjoy the stimuli that is there. So awareness, which Burns says, is about seeing the world through our eyes and not through parental eyes. So without the conditioning, how can I access the Manomaya Kosha? And then further discernment, like we said, what is that intention that is driving me? And what is the intention behind the intention? No? Or we talk about the feeling. What are we feeling? And what's the feeling below the feeling and below the feeling? So how do we access these inner parts of ourselves? Okay? And the reason I brought this bodies in is to connect it with anthroposophy, which is what I'm going to use in the afterbirth cycle. Something that was put forward by Rudolf Steiner. And he has a whole system.
In progress.
I'm getting echo back. As a doctor, he used natural resources to heal the people. And it has grown, just like TA has grown into different fields, it has also grown into having external therapists, which is massage, etc., and then psychotherapists, and then educators, because he says that. And the beauty in those schools, which are walled off schools, is that there is a doctor sitting in classrooms to watch what children are doing and learn what it is. And so it's a system where all of them work together in service of the child growing up with all this awareness. Okay. And he calls it a scientific explosion into the spiritual world. Steiner has spent a lot of time in India before he actually started writing this material. So one of the things that he talks of different kinds of bodies, two-fold body, four-fold, five-fold, seven-fold, and so on. One of the models which I am going to use now here is the four-fold body. And we'll connect it with what we learned now. The I, or the self-consciousness, is the Anandamaya Kosha, the place where this love, joy, peace exists, which is in complete connect with the universal I. But for this life, I am in this body. But it still has the connect with the universal body. And that is the causal body. It is what has decided that we are going to live in this world and build this body in the womb of the mother. Okay, the second one is the astral body. Okay, the causal body builds the physical body, okay, which is the physical form. And the physical form comes alive when breath comes into it, life force energy comes into it, and that's the etheric body. And then you have the astral body, which carries all the likes and dislikes from one world to the other. And that is there. Are you getting a picture of these four? I'm not going into too much detail. So we have four bodies: the physical body, kept alive by the etheric body, the astral body, which is the soul, and the spirit, which is the I. Yes, physical body, soul, and spirit. Okay, can you see there are some kind of parallels between all these three kinds of thinking? And that's the beauty for me, that different people have thought about this, have explored this in their own spiritual ways and come up with things which are different, but which are all aligned. Okay? But incarnation is not as if we are born just like that. It's a very slow process. It happens or starts as soon as conception happens. The mother and father come together, the ovum and the sperm come together. And this coming together of the parents is orchestrated by the I. And the I begins connection with the developing embryo as soon as conception begins. It has chosen who our parents have to be. What is the world into which I'm going to be born? What is the culture into which I'm going to be born? What is the country I'm going to be born? And then it makes a connect with the embryo. Around the third week after conception, there is a stronger union between the I and the physical embryo. Around the seventh week, the etheric body starts functioning. Okay, that is why at this time, when you do an ultrasound scan, the heartbeat of the child can be recognized. The mother cannot still feel it, but the heartbeat of the child recognizes it. can be recognized. So life has begun. Okay. Okay. From about the 7th month, the astral body connects with the fetus. That is why till the 7th month, if there is an abortion or anything like that, the fetus cannot be saved. But after the 7th month, there is possibility of saving the fetus because the astral body has connected. The soul is there. And at birth, the first breath, incarnation is still not complete, but it is a transition of the I along with the astral body, the etheric body, and the physical body into the world. The incarnation continues, and what he says is that it continues predominantly up to the 7th year. So anthroposophy sees our lives in bits of 7 years. 7, 14, what are the developmental stages are seen in that way. So again, our 7 years, in TA we say the identity is formed by 6 years. So this is something like the identity is formed only by then. And the Indian scriptures say that up to the 5th year, the vasana is not crystallized. And how the vasana is going to crystallize happens from 0 to 5 years. It can become hardened and the samskara can be a repeat of what we are born with. Then I have to carry it to the next life, or if I don't dissolve it. Or it could have changed. Vasana, which vasanas are going to act can change up to 5 years. That's what the Indian scriptures say. So the 0 to 7, 0 to 6, 0 to 5 seems to be a very essential period where we are writing our life story. Though we have come in with the seed, how is the seed going to sprout is still decided. All right. So maybe we can have a breakout room and look at these 3 models and what sense it makes for you about bodies.
I take a quick moment just to I shuffled us around and then Jimmy left, so it's
Okay, that's fine.
redid things. So Andrew, I'll include the co-hosts, otherwise you don't get yourself into a room. All right, 5 minutes.
Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes.
Recording in progress.
Yeah. Anything you want to share?
I think the sentence, Karen, that you were saying towards the end, that knowing that all this happens over multiple lifetimes and rebirth can give us a more expanded perspective and not worry about it too much. Just in this, that's what I'm taking away from it, Karen, that, okay, in this lifetime, I've done this much. I can do the rest in next lifetime.
Yeah. A sense of perspective, like this lifetime is such a small speck in the vastness of whatever it's going to be called. It does give a bit of perspective, doesn't it?
Anything anyone else wants to say? You're on mute. Sai, you're on mute.
Yes. Yes, we brainstormed, but I feel that we found ourselves in front of a bit difficult question to comprehend. Like what we focused on intentions that are serving as the source of influence, and also feelings behind the feelings. So I think that is what you want to, how they are chained, and intentions and feelings are can be alertly be seen or not seen, hidden, and that is it.
Yeah. And it is so important for us to become aware of our body, because sometimes we do things and we say, actually, I didn't want to do it. So it is as if some other part of my body did it. And am I aware of which part of my body made me do it? To keep track of that. And notice the origin of whatever it is, happiness, sadness, feelings, as well as my action and my thoughts. Which part of my body is creating it? We think everything starts here. No. Our body thinks. Each cell in my body thinks. So now we'll move on to life after death. Okay. So in this world, we have all the four bodies: the physical body, the etheric body, the astral body, and the I. When we die, the etheric body separates from the physical body. And the physical body then returns to the earth. So whether it's burial or whether it's cremation, whatever our physical body is made of, it took from the world and it's going back. So if you see the Christian funeral, we say from dust to dust, right? So that's what happens. But death is not only about death of the body. Death is a soul process. So our souls move on, which means the physical body is left behind, the other three bodies move on a planetary journey. The planets are symbolic representations, and I'm not going to go into each planet, but we'll just use the moon sphere. The moon sphere is a sphere at which there is cosmic wisdom. Okay? And therefore, we are under the influence of this cosmic wisdom, and we see our last life like a tableau running in reverse. So from the last moment when I died, it runs backwards. Okay? And we see what all happened. After this has happened, the etheric body leaves the astral also and gets combined with the universal etheric or the life force energy. Okay, which is why the anthroposophic people actually wait 3 days before the burial. So around that time, this visual has run in our mind. After the visual has run in our mind, we move on in that planetary journey, and there is cosmic reflection. In that world, I'm thinking about all that I did in my previous birth. The joys and pains that I caused other people, not from my perspective, but from their perspective. All the interactions. No? What is the thought and intention with which they did something? I am aware of it. How did they receive my action? Even you're giving money to somebody. Did they receive it with joy or did they receive it as shame? I have to take from this person. So how have I impacted others during this life. And there's a process of forgiveness and all of that, and there is a letting go. So that healing process is what happens after our death. And when that healing process is completed, the astral body separates from the I and gets combined with the universal astral. And the individual I moves on to become one with the universal I, which means I get united with the higher power. And that's called the midnight hour. It's the sun sphere. Okay, so I have forgiven myself, etc., and I have become part of the spiritual realm. While I have forgiven, I have not forgotten. Okay, and there is still this urge and need in us to set things right. Sometimes just that I have resources and I want to share of my resources with the world because of whatever is happening there or whatever I have experienced. And that is when there is this karmic impulse or intention that starts stirring in us. And when it starts stirring in us, the spirit germ moves and an individual I is created, separates from the universal I once again, and forms an individual I, individual consciousness. Of this is what I want to happen in the next birth. And when that intention is put out, all the sentient beings that are around in this realm offer to help you by either supporting your intention or by opposing the intention, or just being people who will travel along with you. So there is a collective decision of how this individual I is going to come into the world and what will be the roles that these different sentient beings will play in your life on the next birth. Once that collective decision has been made, a karmic blueprint is ready. Okay? That is what we are calling the Parabdha Karma, which we spoke of there. That blueprint is ready. And the individual astral is created, which carries this blueprint. In that, what we called about vasanas are getting formed here. The tendencies, how should I behave to get this intention of the I met. And then this I and the astral start on a planetary journey. And why is it not moving? Yeah. And when it reaches the moon sphere, it decides what is the inheritance stream to which I have to be born into. So it takes into account 7 generations. What are the qualities that I need? Do I need to be a musician? Do I need to be this? Do I need to be that? So a very conscious, collective conscious decision is made where this individual is going to be born. To which parents, to which siblings, in which country, in which community, all of these to live out the intention. So this combining of the cosmic stream and the inheritance stream is when the seed is coming together. And then we saw about how that seed forms in the body till birth. Any thoughts, questions on that before we move into the psychotherapy, hypnotherapy take on the same thing? I have compared all those, the Indian philosophy, this Buddhist also has, but I haven't brought that in.
Dr. George, so whether you become an ant or you become an elephant or you become, it's all decided by the karmic blueprint. Is that what
Yeah, that's a collective decision.
collective decision?
Some sentient being may decide, okay, by my being your pet dog, I will be supporting you in this journey.
Yeah.
Is there a sense of a time frame between incarnations?
It can be anything from a few years to thousands of years. That there is different things, and it also, even this healing process, Newton has given vivid descriptions of how the setting will be. In some places, you have a beautiful bower of flowers where you are sitting with the masters and they are helping you heal. In some places, it is about being in a fire. The other is sitting at a lake. So there are descriptions both in anthroposophy and in the hypnotherapy person's writing that this could be a year or maybe hundreds of years. And then I am resting in the Almighty's arms, safe in the arms of Jesus, the same thought. Then something spirals up. How many years later that spirals up is also not known. But when it does spiral up, I decide to come back. And then that whole journey on the cosmic journey is to collect all the resources that we need for this birth. Each of the planets, according to anthroposophy, gives you different resources. So which planet you stay on longer depends on what are the resources you want. You gather it either quickly or slowly, and then you come in.
Yeah, thank you.
And there are different kinds of writing. There's, Newton talks about no soul nurseries and all that. So I'm just giving a flavor. My idea is to make you all curious enough to do more reading.
It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to believe astrology then, because
Yes.
that's why they say that, at least in our part of the world, they will say, go and do something to please this planet because this planet is heavy on you at this time, and that kind of thing they say. So now I'm starting to believe in it.
Yeah, it's only how it is used by the astrologer you go to. Karan might have met Arun. Have you ever at any point met Arun Bhatt?
I'm not
He has just,
sure.
he has just finished his CTA written exam. He's an astrologer and has moved from astrology to psychotherapy, carrying with him all the astrology learning in the service of people. So he says this healing, rather than just telling them, go and do this puja, if I can support it with the psychotherapy, it helps. And recently he did TA teaching to a whole lot of astrologers because they found that what he's talking is making sense. So yes, and the beauty is those connections.
Right.
I don't think any field is standalone. Every field has its wealth. They are looking at it through different lenses. Some lenses suit us, some don't. That's all. Okay, so we take a look at another person's take on the same thing. And I have put it together in such a way that the similarity is obvious. Brian Weiss may be a more popular person, but he talks about many lives, many masters.
Yes.
This particular take is from Michael Newton. Transforming Lives is the book's name. He says at death, the guides and masters appear. I tend to believe this because I had an experience when my grandmother died. I was a schoolgirl at that point. At that time, she had fallen and broken her hip. That time, no operations like this and pinning up its plaster and put your leg up. And that's how she was with that leg up, and that resulted in pneumonia. And finally, the orthopedist and the doctor together decided, put your legs down and wait for whatever healing comes or death comes. That kind of state she was in. And around that time, one of her cousins, who was around her age, passed away in another city, and the telegram came. Then telegrams only bring this message. The family made a decision not to tell her about his death, saying she's already so ill, let's not tell, because it was one of her favorite cousins. And then I was beside her when her end came. Nobody else was close by. And she started saying, my husband is coming, my father is coming, I can see bright light, all of which I said, okay, this is what Christianity tells us, that we will meet people. She is just believing that and making herself comfortable. Then she became so vehemently saying, why is this person who is alive there? Why is that cousin of mine there? Why is this cousin of mine there? And I didn't know whether to tell or not to tell. I'm screaming here, calling people, because I didn't know. So that has somehow given me this trust that death is a beautiful process. We will be welcomed into the next world. So that's what they're saying. Guides and masters can be relatives. It can be anybody. But there are guides and masters that take us on this journey in the next life. So it's a lot of fascinating writing in his book. He says that basically what happens is there is a preliminary debriefing of life that has just been completed. Just like they said there is a review of the life. And then there is an orientation to the spiritual world, which is all the forgiveness, etc., and from that spiritual space. Therefore, we heal, tuning our vibrational pattern to the universal energy and releasing all the negative energy, which was the steps we saw when the astral leaves. Okay, so this healing process only he describes all those places, the bowers with flower and the fire and the water and waterfall and all kinds of explanations he gives. And the kind of healing that happened to individuals. He's written it from what people have spoken to him in the therapy space. Okay, and he says the setting depends on the intensity of the trauma. Is it going to be just a few months? Is it going to be many, many years that this journey will take? And after that, we move into wisdom expanded consciousness. But the soul which has now been healed is not excused of responsibility. I may be forgiven, I may have forgiven, but I still have to take responsibility. So forgiveness, even in this world, we need to say, is not a thought. It is action. I have to make amends for the errors that I made. And in order to execute this responsibility, the soul chooses a body with guidance of the guides and masters, but uses free will. So I and I alone am responsible for acting on this collective decision. So the decision is collective. They are all available to support us. But each one of us who is coming is saying, I will do it. Okay. So alongside me, I have my primary family. I have my soulmate chosen there and affiliated soulmates who can help the journey or who can obstruct the journey. Both these happen. So we have people who have come into our lives just to obstruct. There are people who are coming into our life just to help. And that was decided there as the best route for executing your responsibility.
Dr. George, Dr. Brian Weiss also says, or I don't know from where I know this, that souls that we knew before are also born around us. They're around us.
Absolutely. Because we have both souls have responsibilities to complete, which are linked.
Right.
But it's not only like that. It's not as the same family, everybody is the same family.
Right.
It's a mixture. Right? The same thing is said in the Indian scriptures. I'm not going too much into detail. But at death, what happens is the gross body or the physical body leaves. The Annamaya Kosha leaves us. And the Pranamaya Kosha leaves. Then the subtle body which carries the Agami karma, the karma which I have created in this world, is carried along with the karma, the causal body, and the Agami karma combines with the Sanjita karma. So the whole accumulation is there. Okay. So remember, this life I have lived, next life I need not be acting on the effect of this life. I may be acting on something that happened in my 100th life, and this might be my 250th life. Okay? Because this Agami karma combines the Sanjita karma, and then there is a decision of what do I want to set in motion for my next life. That's called the Parabdha karma. And whatever is the tendencies needed for this Parabdha karma to be executed are what I'm going to carry. And that's how I'm born with the vasanas. And at birth, the symbol is that there is a Prakriti and Purusha coming together. Okay? That idea of Prakriti and Purusha coming together, the metaphor for it is, there is a man who can see, but he doesn't have legs. Okay? The cosmic wisdom is available, but will not act. And there is a lame man who cannot see. And the person who can see is sitting on the shoulder of the lame man and can access the world only through the lame man. Are you getting that picture? Purusha and Prakriti coming together. That's what happens at birth. So our Prakriti or our system is accessing the world through stimuli, but that has filters. All our vasanas, etc. The Purusha knows the intention. What is the reason that I have come into this world, but cannot do anything. Okay? It only responds to the action and the data given by the Prakriti. Okay? And basically our body is avidya kshetra. So we have blocks which are building, but we can release them. So this is the process of life as we live it. So we are not, we have the Parabdha karma coming, which is the product of the past. and I'm in the model that I'm going to write, I see this as what is causing the protocol. Because in TA we learn, once the protocol is formed, the template is formed, everything else builds on it. That makes sense. But why is this template formed in this way? It's not known. And that template formation is influenced by the vasana that we are carrying. But we are not born only with that. We also have the Purushartha, which can give us all the other capacities. What happened? I didn't stop share. It stopped on its own. Okay. So the Purushartha, there are 4 Purusharthas, which are the values that we are inherently born with, which guide us for a balanced, harmonious life. Both these we are born with, the Purusha and the Prakriti. Okay. So shall I move into the TA part, or do you want a minute to look at it? Shall I move into the making connections with TA?
I have one question, Dr. Joy.
Yeah.
So some people come together and they don't have a harmonious life. So is it that the Purushartha is fighting with the Prakriti in them?
Not necessary. The Purushartha doesn't do anything.
Okay.
It's just available there.
Okay.
It just processes. No?
So what's stopping the harmony then?
Because that may be how we decided. To execute my responsibility, I don't want to label it that way, but you said no. A death happened, which made you take on responsibilities. Right? So for that to happen, something else has to happen. Which is where this statement, whatever happens, happens for a greater good. Right? Whatever has happened, what Bhagavad Gita says, whatever has happened is for good. Whatever is happening is for good. Whatever will happen is for good. It may not be good for the person at that instant, but in the overall story, it is for a purpose. And to know that I am not responsible for the other person's decision. If they chose to support us or be against us, that's their choice. Up there. There was no force on them. There was no force on me. I had free will. I chose this constellation. We together decided on this constellation of living. And in this life, we can negate the whole Prarabdha karma and start on a new journey of such. So it's not till the end of our lives. We clear it with awareness faster, then our journey becomes different. Shall I get into the TA connections? Or everyone here is familiar with the ego state model, right? First order, second order. Yeah, so I can quickly go through that. I don't have to spend time. Okay. Okay. So, protocol, we are also familiar with that. My take is that protocol is influenced by the karmic blueprint, by the Prarabdha karma, by the vasanas and the samskara. And it's getting reinforced and as the story builds. Right? We are also born with the Physis, which is the generalized creative force of nature, which eternally strives to make things grow and make growing things more perfect. I would say the Purushartha is carrying this and bringing it for you, and it's available for the Prakriti to use. Okay, it's the cosmic energy, the Shakti, which is available for us to use, which is in us, but very often we don't use it, or it gets blocked. Okay, so this I will move through quickly. First order PAC structure, second order PAC structure. So the P1 is the electrode, the little professor, and the somatic child. I am presuming all of you know this. Am I right? Okay. Now, inside that, you have the third order structure. And this third order structure is what we are going to deal with in detail. I am also bringing in Barrow's idea that if I draw PAC like this, it's the pressure from the P on the C. And if I draw PAC like this, the P and the A are supporting the C. So these two concepts are what I'm combining in making this expanded model. Okay. So we are born by the Prarabdha Karma, and the Prarabdha Karma is deciding what is the contents of the cosmic stream. It is also inviting the inheritance stream, who are going to be my parents, not just my parents, but the 7 generations before me. Okay. These vasanas influence the C0. The P0 is the inheritance stream, and the interaction of P0 and C0 together leaves an impression on us, and that impression is the protocol. Are you all following how it is influenced by the Prarabdha Karma or the Vasana? So that's how the child makes the first decision, by the influence of what it is born with. Because the little child knows. It's only later that it is forgotten. Even in anthroposophy, that's the take. And then as it continues living, it comes about the environment, which may be supportive of it, which may be against it, whatever. And the little professor has to survive in this world. It has to get needs met, and it has to make meaning of the world, which means it is thinking in its own little professor way, with creativity, curiosity, intuition. And this little professor thinking is influenced by the vasanas. And it creates the electrode, which is the injunctions, the permissions, the elaboration of parent figures, the fantasy. All of those are influenced by our vasanas. That's how the script is getting written under the influence of the Prarabdha Karma or the vasanas, and it is getting imprinted in our body as the samskaras. Please do stop and ask if you have any questions coming up.
So Susan, from what you're saying there, the vasanas influence the creation of our script, but they're not the only factor. There's the external conditions into which we are born as well.
Yes.
And is that how some people would call kind of nurture is our environment, but nature is what we come in with?
But what I am saying is, we have also chosen our nurture.
Yes.
Our nature is what has chosen our nurture.
How interesting. Yes, now I get that. It's not a mistake.
It is not accidental. It is not that I was planted anywhere. I chose to come in here. That's what can help in therapy so much, because then I cannot blame anything or anybody. I chose these parents. I chose this context into which I was born.
Yeah.
For a purpose. And once I fulfill the purpose, life can go now again with my own free will in a new way.
That's profound. Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So
Does
if you look
that
at
then,
the, yeah, go ahead.
then it becomes, it's really about taking responsibility for whatever is there in your life
Yes.
and
Yes.
acting in the here and now, and that way living, making the agami karma better, or if that's the way to say it.
Yes. Without first dissolving the parabdha karma.
Prarabdha. So, one more clarification. Prarabdha karma is the karmic blueprint, or it is what? Because there's another word for the past one, right? So, Prarabdha karma is the karmic blueprint that we come with
Karmic blueprint for this life.
for this life. Okay.
Okay. And if I complete that, I can clean parts of my Sanjita karma also. Okay. So if you look at the same picture through Haggaden and Sills view also, you can see the cosmic stream is the emergent self, the vasanas with which I'm born, the C0. Under the influence of the inheritance stream, which is the environment I'm born into, the somatic child is formed, which is the samskara, which is the recording in the body. That's why it's called the somatic child. And that, once the little professor works and the P1 is also formed, is my whole self. Okay? Along with this whole self, I also have the A2 and the introjects of my parent figures, which is P2. And now I come to the extended picture. The top circle is the P2A to C2, which is me in this birth. Okay. In the C2, I have all the material from the karma. In the P2, I have all the things that my parents in this life I've introjected. And I have the A2. I'll come back to that part again in a little while. And what I have added is, I have done this inverted picture of C infinity being held by A infinity and P infinity, because my take is that the universe provides and protects. Okay? So A is the universal astral, the collective soul energy which decided the Parabdha karma and which is supporting us in this journey. Okay? And it was made on the soul's yearning for perfection. I made an error, I have to correct it. I have to take responsibility. So that is how the Parabdha karma was made. And that influences the formation of the C1 and the C2. And the role of this universal astral does not stop with that formation, because according to anthroposophy, when we have a good night's sleep, the physical body and the etheric body are sleeping, but the astral body is connected to it by a string and can go anywhere and connect with the collective consciousness as well as the universal consciousness. That is why night sleep is so important. It is the space where healing happens. It is the space where we can collect new resources. And that is all coming from the A infinity, which is the universal astral or the collective soul energy. And the P, which I am P infinity, is the universal I or the universal consciousness, the knowledge of the higher world. Okay. And the A is the Purushartha, which is the values and goals with which I am born. I may use them or not use them, but when I use them, I am responding to the here and now so that our life can be lived with harmony. In addition to this, there is all the intrapsychic processes between the ego states, which can be supporting this journey or which can be obstructing the journey. And there is the Physis that is available, which is the universal life force energy, which helps us grow beyond this also. So at any given point, we have all these energies acting. This is something I'm still not completely clear about, but what each of this is and whether there are other things, etc. But the energies that we are acting in us are the vasanas, the samskaras, which is the scripty part. There is the Purushartha, which is the autonomous part where we can make autonomous decisions. There is the Physis, which is helping us and driving us to grow. And there is all these interactions with the intrapsychic, which may be making us fight back, like the try-hard driver, and impasses are formed, or you may be moving off in the seesaw process, or cutting off the C or cutting off the P, all the intrapsychic processes which are acting either in support or against. So the point is, how do we balance these energies for a healthy, harmonious life? I would also leave the question to you. Which of these are bound energies? How do they become unbound energies? What is free energy? Okay, we have 10 minutes more. So let's use this space for me to get ideas from you, thoughts from you.
You know, I'm sitting, Susan, with a sense of both kind of deep peace and excitement around this brings so much together. I want to immerse myself in it more, but there's almost a deep knowingness. This is it, which is it's a gift. I still need to get my head around some of the terms, but as you put it all out for us, there is just that sense of in me.
Yes.
Thank you.
My thinking is, how can I use it in therapy or in education? How can it be used by a practitioner?
Indeed.
Without the complication of the words.
Indeed. Almost as the blueprint for how we show up in our professional roles. What will be different if we hold this way of seeing things?
Yeah.
And for me, it's more about expansiveness and acceptance. Always sounds very passive, but acceptance in the deepest, like enter into what is, not just I've got to put up with it.
Yes.
If that makes sense to you.
Trusting the process of life.
That's much more eloquently put. That.
Yeah. And that helps us to love and approve of ourselves. And if these two become a reality in our lives, our life will be different. I think therapy is all about making this a reality in our client's life.
Did you say, Dr. George, love and approval of ourselves?
Love and approve of myself, yes. These are two statements in Louis Hay's affirmations. But when we understand what it is, then it's no longer just words.
Mm-hmm. What do I need to read from Michael Keaton to immerse myself more into this?
Michael Newton has a book, Transforming Souls.
I haven't read it yet.
I read that because he is a therapist, just like Brian Weiss and all that. But there they have written it more for the layman, and it is more stories. Here he has actually described case studies.
Hmm.
I think, Susan, for myself, I'm probably sitting with far more questions than I thought I would be sitting with at the end of this, and I'm very pleased by that. I think something that came to my mind is around what's been with me for a long time is the using Johari's window, and the window where it's unknown to us and unknown to others. And the thing that has always tickled me is, what are the things that I could be doing that can help me reveal
Real.
just snippets of things that might be in there? And
Yes.
this is really, again, I'm resonating with Karen said about feeling quite warm and touched by this and a feeling of truth within it. And my hunch and hope is that it will be a significant part of being able to find what's in that space within myself.
I would be interested in knowing what your questions are, because it could deepen my search.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm not coherent on the questions just yet, but if and when they
Anytime
come,
it
I
comes up,
feel free. Yeah, I
do
will.
feel free to
Yeah.
search it. Any thoughts, any ideas, any material you come across which connects and makes sense to this, do send.
I would like to share something that I had created, but it's like it's like half there, or that I feel like I was trying to solve how to help myself and how to help my clients. And so it's a graph that I made and say that how can I go from here? We don't have to go to the downward journey to come up. I remember I created a floating bridge that you can cross from here or you can cross from here. I'd like to share that with you.
Sure, we can have a conversation.
That'd be wonderful.
Shruti, is that what you presented for SATAA once? Oh.
It's been just there at that point. I haven't done any more work, and now I see some, way to get it to a place where it might,
Yeah.
Sure.
maybe something one can share more publicly.
And I've got really excited, Susan, as co-editor of the TAJ coming out next year on Physis. Is like this
Oh, okay.
really
I'll write up before that. That's
yeah, no pressure, but wow, that would be amazing, because I think it fits right into the depth and breadth and expansiveness of how we can think about Physis now.
yes.
Yes.
Just yesterday, was it? I was talking to one of my senior colleagues, and she was saying, I've done 10 years here, and I think I feel like restless. I want to do something more. And she's the manager of, like, she's quite senior. And I happened to mention to her about Physis. I said, well, that's just the force within you, and it's a Physis. She got immediately interested. So I sent her a little write-up, but I think it didn't describe it well enough. So I'm wondering, I'm no longer a member of the journal, um, but I'm wondering if there's something that I can read up more and share with her. Is there an article or something? I mean, till this article comes out, is there something that I can read up? And I know I'm not in touch with all of this right now. Mm.
I can certainly kind of send you some things. I know one of our Dutch colleagues has written an article on Physis.
That'll be great.
Last few years that
Who
immediately
is
is
that?
Audrey van den Brandt. He's got
Will you send the reference to me also?
yeah. Let me make a note. I think he's published it in the TAJ, or else it's in somewhere local, but I can have access to it.
Yeah. But does the model make sense?
It does, and particularly using Barrow's CAP model. I don't think it would have made as much sense with all of that in the C3 at the bottom visually, but at the top is like, yes, really, it does make sense.
And what I notice in my work environment is that it's always PAC. The C is not allowed to, surface itself. It's like kept under wraps because the environment is that. If it's allowed to like just flourish, then it's not serious enough for the people. And that I think keeps the whole organization a little bit, you know. No wonder, I mean, when the outside environment is not stimulating growth, then we don't know how to make growth happen enough.
We played with this model with in my educational group just the past weekend, and somebody there said they had kind of given up on their P and just thought, I just need an A and a C because the P was not supportive. And that person realized by putting the P underneath, if they give up on the P, they've got no kind of foundation and the opportunity to almost reimagine and populate that P as the foundation rather than the oppression at the top.
That trust on that higher power helps so many clients even in therapy. It's so much easier if they are coming in with some beginning of trust, but otherwise building it is so helpful. You don't have to name it. Doesn't matter what your religion is or what, but that there is a power that is supporting us.
And in our Hindu religion, there's a very strong belief that you must satisfy the ancestors. If you're not respecting them or not thinking of them or not honoring them, then your present is not going to be what you want it to be. And I'm relating that to what we've learned today.
It is more than respecting them. It is gratitude for what I have inherited. If I can do that, recognize my inheritance stream and value it with love and gratitude.
Yeah.
That will make such a difference. And that's the transgenerational script also. And carrying not only from my parents, but from still further. Okay, we are little past the end of our time. Good place
Very,
to
very
say.
interesting, very enhancing and helping to relate to many things that I have in different corners of my mind and body. So I'm so glad I joined. It was a real treat. Thank you for organizing and for inviting.
And it was wonderful to have you there because you were so active and sharing, and makes it easy to speak.
Thank you.
Susan, from my side, if I take the baton to do official thanks from SATAA, I think I was really struck by a few things of today's session. The first part was this this awareness that much of the TA world still has quite a Eurocentric base, and was really, really struck and heartwarmed by the excitement of having it that expanded and bringing more wisdom from around the world and cultures and times to enrich the TA landscape. And another part for myself is that, like I said in the beginning, I'm not a fait with many of these concepts, and the way how you were able to present and hold the space today made me feel comfortable just to trust the process and be with you. So thank you for offering your time and for bringing your own way to this space. We're very, very appreciative of that. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lovely to see you, Karen and Andrew. It was amazing.
You too.
Long,
Thank
long
you.
time.